Jerry's last jump. If you were driving a car, that is, supposing you were old enough to drive one and a policeman signaled you to stop, what would you do? Would you say, "Well, I don't think he'll mind if I drive on a mile or two more," or "I can't stop just now, I'm in a hurry"? No, indeed, you would stop right there. Well, if you were to come up to some traffic lights just as they turned red, what would you do? Stop? I hope so. I can't imagine that you would say, "Well, I'll just drive quietly through them this time." Once could be enough to bring death and disaster. That is what is meant by instant obedience, obeying at the very moment that the signal or command is given. Unfortunately, some boys and girls don't know what that means. When mother says, "Come here, dear," they wander off until they have finished something they want to do. When father says, "Please do this job for me," they start daydreaming and had to be told again and again before the task is done. It is a good thing to learn to obey quickly, instantly. It saves a lot of trouble and argument, and someday it may save your life. This is how it happened with Jerry. He lived in New Zealand at that time, and his father and mother had taken him with them on a vacation trip in the mountains to visit an extinct volcano. This extinct volcano is covered above the tree line with a thick layer of volcanic ash or gravel called scoria, which makes it tiresome to climb and more so to descend. By much hard work and much slippering in this loose gravel, the three of them managed to climb up more than 5,000 feet, almost to the snow cap. Then, as the hour was getting late, they thought it better to return. So they started down with father and mother going ahead and 9-year-old Jerry tagging along behind. So soft and loose was the scoria that it was possible to jump 10 to 14 feet at a time down the steep slope and land safely. This made the descent quiet and a bit of fun, provided of course one didn't go too fast and lose control of himself. If you were to do that, there would be no knowing where you might land, for there were precipices that had to be avoided at all costs. Down and down they all went, the evening getting darker as they descended. Suddenly, father and mother noticed that Jerry was not with them. They had been so concerned about getting themselves down in safety that they had not noticed how far he was behind. "Jerry!" they called. "Where are you?" From away up the mountain came the cheery answer, I'm coming." "Hurry up then," cried father. "It's getting late." "All right, I'm hurrying." Jerry began to hurry then. Till now he had been taking his time coming down at his own speed. Now he noticed that it was getting dark and he began to get scared, especially when he saw how far below him were his parents. So he started to do the big jumps that they had taken, landing in the volcanic gravel and jumping again. It was fun, but it was dangerous, too dangerous for Jerry. Suddenly he realized that he was going so fast that he could not stop. As each jump ended, he tried to stop himself, but overbalancing on the steep slope, he had to save himself by jumping again. So he went down ever faster and faster, not knowing that below him was a 200-foot precipice. I can't stop, he cried. Father and mother looked up and caught their breath. There was Jerry coming down the mountainside in great leaps, quite unable to stop himself, while every leap was bringing him nearer and nearer to that awful drop to death. "Tell him to stop! Tell him to stop!" shrieked Mother. "It's no good shouting stop. He can't stop," said Father. Then he cupped his hand and shouted as loud as he could, "Jerry, fall down!" Jerry fell just as his father had shot him with a gun. Down he went into the loose gravel, which acted as a brake and stopped him dead. Father and Mother climbed up to where he had fallen and found him lying just 20 feet from the edge of the precipice. As they looked down in horror at the gargled rocks below, they thought of what might have happened. How thankful they were that Cherry had learned to obey at once. Instant obedience, boys and girls, is a virtue of priceless value.